The alien warlords crossed the void with absolute confidence. Across 1,000 conquered worlds, no civilization had ever survived their arrival. Their armadas darkened skies, shattered moons, and forced entire species to kneel without firing a second shot. To them, Earth was simply another primitive planet waiting to become another trophy in their endless campaign of conquest. Humanity watched the invasion fleet descend in complete silence. Military satellites tracked every battleship while governments issued evacuation orders and emergency broadcasts. The Galactic Council expected desperate resistance followed by swift surrender. Instead, every human commander withdrew from major cities, abandoned obvious defensive positions, and allowed the invaders to establish beachheads without contest. To the aliens, it looked like fear. To humanity, it was the first move in a hunt. Supreme Warlord Karvak laughed as his armies marched through deserted streets. Massive walkers crushed abandoned vehicles while gunships circled empty skyscrapers searching for resistance that never appeared. His officers celebrated the easiest invasion in generations. They mocked humanity as cowards who had surrendered before the real battle had even begun. What none of them understood was that humans had not been preparing for an invasion. They had been preparing for predators. Every generation had produced hunters capable of surviving Earth's deadliest environments, tracking impossible prey across impossible terrain, and turning overwhelming odds into certain victory. Long before aliens reached the stars, humanity had mastered the art of hunting creatures stronger, faster, and deadlier than themselves. The first alien patrol disappeared only 6 hours after landing. 20 heavily armed warriors entered a mountain pass to investigate abandoned military installations. None returned. Search drones found their vehicles intact, their weapons untouched, and their armor neatly stacked beside a river. There were no signs of battle, only strange footprints leading deeper into the wilderness before vanishing completely. Karvak dismissed the incident as an accident. He sent an elite battalion supported by armored vehicles, surveillance drones, and orbital scanners. They advanced cautiously through forests older than their civilization itself. Every sensor reported complete silence. Then the drones failed one by one. Communications dissolved into static. Moments later, the battalion vanished without transmitting a single distress signal. Panic spread through the invasion force. Entire platoons began reporting shadows moving between trees faster than scanners could track. Soldiers heard distant whistles that echoed through valleys before comrades disappeared from formation. Every night, another camp woke to discover guards missing, while untouched weapons remained standing exactly where they had been left. It felt less like warfare and more like being stalked by something that refused to reveal itself. The Galactic Council demanded answers from Earth. Human representatives calmly responded with the same sentence every time. You invaded a Deathworld. On this planet, hunters don't wear uniforms. The statement confused every ambassador except a few ancient species that suddenly remembered old stories about humanity's forgotten traditions. Karvak finally ordered orbital bombardment across every forest, mountain, and desert suspected of hiding resistance. Gigantic plasma strikes turned entire regions into burning wastelands. When reconnaissance teams landed to confirm the kills, they discovered carefully constructed decoys. The real hunters had already relocated, leaving behind false camps designed to waste enemy ammunition and reveal firing positions. Then the hunters struck openly for the first time. As an armored convoy crossed a frozen mountain pass, explosions sealed both exits beneath thousands of tons of rock and ice. Hidden marksmen disabled engines with impossible precision before silent figures emerged through the blizzard. They carried advanced rifles alongside ancient hunting bows, thermal cloaks beside handcrafted knives. Within minutes, the convoy was reduced to smoking wreckage without a single hunter remaining behind. Captured alien survivors described impossible enemies. They claimed humans appeared from nowhere, communicated without speaking, and knew every weakness in alien equipment before encountering it. Medical officers found tranquilizer compounds specifically designed to incapacitate multiple alien species, despite never having studied their biology. Humanity had adapted astonishingly fast. Karvak abandoned conventional tactics and gathered his strongest champions into a single unstoppable force. These warriors had crushed empires and slain monstrous creatures across dozens of galaxies. If the hunters wanted prey, he would become the predator instead. He challenged humanity to face him directly. The response arrived as a simple set of coordinates deep within Earth's oldest forest. Against his advisors' warnings, Karvak accepted. He marched into the wilderness with thousands of elite soldiers surrounding him. For hours they encountered nothing except silence, distant animal calls, and abandoned campfires that still radiated warmth despite having no occupants nearby. At sunset, the forest came alive. Every branch, cliff, and stream became part of an invisible battlefield. Traps disabled heavy armor without killing occupants. Smoke concealed movement, while natural terrain divided alien formations into isolated groups. Every attempt to regroup triggered another perfectly timed ambush. The hunters never remained visible longer than a heartbeat. Karvak finally confronted the leader of the hunters beside an ancient river. The human wore camouflage stitched from countless environments, carrying scars earned across decades rather than ceremonial decorations. There was no speech, no dramatic introduction, only calm eyes measuring another dangerous animal entering unfamiliar territory. Their duel lasted only minutes. Karvak's powered armor amplified his strength beyond anything human biology should overcome. Yet every strike met empty air, while every counterattack targeted exposed joints, weakened supports, and microscopic flaws in alien engineering. The hunter did not fight harder. He fought smarter. When Karvak finally collapsed, his armor remained mostly intact, while every critical system inside had quietly failed. Watching through orbital surveillance, alien commanders realized the horrifying truth. Humanity's greatest weapon was not technology, numbers, or raw power. It was experience earned across millions of years surviving the most dangerous ecosystem evolution could create. Every human carried instincts forged by ancestors who hunted to survive long before civilization existed. The remaining alien officers attempted negotiations, hoping surrender might spare their forces. Humanity agreed on one condition. Every invader would immediately disarm, abandon all occupied territory, and leave Earth's orbit forever. There would be no pursuit as long as they never returned. Refusal meant the hunt would continue, not just on Earth but across every system their fleets attempted to reach. Karvak's successor accepted without hesitation. Damaged warships filled orbit as evacuation began under the watchful eyes of human spacecraft that had remained hidden throughout the conflict. The invaders had arrived believing they faced frightened civilians. They departed knowing they had awakened a civilization that considered patience the deadliest weapon in existence. When the Galactic Council investigated the battle, they discovered something even more unsettling. Humanity had committed less than 5% of its military strength. The hunters who defeated the greatest invasion fleet in known history were not even regular soldiers. They were volunteers drawn from survival experts, wilderness trackers, special operations veterans, indigenous scouts, professional rescue teams, competitive marksmen, and ordinary people whose ancestors had never forgotten one simple rule. From that day forward, every military academy in the galaxy taught the same lesson to future commanders. If you seek to conquer humanity, remember that humans smile when they become the prey. Because on Earth, every predator eventually learns the same terrifying truth. No matter how powerful the hunter believes himself to be, there is always a greater hunter waiting patiently in the shadows. The story of Earth's hunters spread across the stars faster than any official report. Alien governments dismissed the first accounts as exaggerated battlefield myths, until independent observers confirmed abandoned invasion fleets drifting silently through space. Every vessel left intact but completely deserted. The galaxy realized that humanity had not won through overwhelming firepower. It had won through mastery of fear, patience, and precision. Months later, a coalition of surviving alien warlords secretly gathered beyond the edge of explored space. Humiliated by defeat, they agreed on one final campaign. This time they would not invade Earth directly. Instead, they would lure humanity into open space where forests, mountains, and oceans offered no advantage. They believed they had finally found the one battlefield where human hunters could not survive. Human intelligence intercepted every transmission before the coalition had even completed its plans. Without announcing a military mobilization, humanity quietly dispatched specialized hunter fleets built for deep space pursuit. Their ships emitted almost no detectable energy, drifted through asteroid fields like drifting debris, and disappeared inside the shadows of gas giants. The hunters had simply adapted their oldest instincts to the vacuum of space. When the coalition fleet entered the designated ambush system, they celebrated too early. Their scanners showed nothing but empty space. Then their supply ships began disappearing one after another. Fuel convoys vanished. Ammunition carriers exploded without warning. Communication relays went silent. Entire escort groups reported chasing phantom targets that dissolved into darkness before contact. Within days, the coalition was starving long before a major battle had begun. Desperation forced the alien admirals into reckless action. They ordered every warship to activate maximum power sensors, flooding the system with scanning pulses powerful enough to reveal any hidden enemy. Instead, the pulses reflected off thousands of carefully placed decoys. Every false target consumed missiles, fighter squadrons, and precious fuel, while the real human fleet remained invisible, patiently watching every mistake. The hunters finally revealed themselves during the coalition's retreat. Hundreds of sleek black warships emerged simultaneously from behind moons inside asteroid fields, and even from the wreckage of destroyed alien cruisers where they had hidden for days. They attacked only command vessels, navigation centers, and communication hubs. Without leadership, the enormous alien fleet dissolved into chaos, with ships colliding as frightened captains fled in every direction. Supreme Commander Elena Ward broadcast a single message across every military frequency. A hunter never chases every animal in the forest. Remove the leader and the herd defeats itself. Her words echoed through alien command networks as fleet after fleet surrendered without firing another shot, realizing they had been strategically defeated long before the first human vessel appeared. The Galactic Council immediately called an emergency session unlike any in its history. Ancient civilizations that had once viewed humanity as an unpredictable Deathworld species now stood in respect as Earth's representatives entered the chamber. For the first time, the Council unanimously approved a new interstellar doctrine. No military force would ever be permitted to invade a Deathworld without unanimous galactic approval, and humanity would oversee its enforcement. Young cadets across the galaxy began studying human hunting doctrine rather than mocking it. They learned that camouflage was more powerful than armor, preparation more valuable than numbers, and patience deadlier than aggression. The phrase, "never become humanity's prey," became the first lesson taught in every advanced military academy, replacing centuries of outdated conquest strategies. Far beyond explored space, hidden observers watched these events unfold in silence. They were older than the Galactic Council, older than every known empire, and had spent millennia searching for a civilization worthy of becoming either an ally or an enemy. After reviewing the recordings from Earth and the destroyed invasion fleets, their leader quietly closed the report and gave a single order: mark humanity as untouchable. If even the galaxy's greatest warlords became prey, then we will not be the next hunters to enter Earth's forest.